Well, good afternoon, folks. My name is Rich Keener. I'm the village manager for the Village of Villa Park. And today is another one of our segments where we're going to cover or discuss, if you will, the upcoming Committee of the Whole and formal board meetings. And so the meeting we'll be talking about today is the meeting which will occur on December 14th. However, it's 6 o'clock on Monday, December 14th, here at the Village Hall building upstairs in the chambers. We're going to have a public hearing on the FEMA flood maps. And so we'll actually have Mr. Shockey here from FEMA to meet and discuss with some of our area residents which are located in the floodplain. He'll be discussing the floodplain mapping process, the floodplain insurance. So if you happen to be located in in our floodplain here in Villa Park or know someone who is, please mention to him that at 6 o'clock Monday we're going to have a meeting talking about the mapping process here at the Village Hall upstairs in the chambers. So that happens at 6, and then at 7:30 the Committee of the Whole meeting starts. So let's start. So the first item on the agenda for Monday, December 14th, for the Committee of the Whole is, that's a call to order, it's the roll call. Second is the Pledge of Allegiance. Third is amendments of the agenda, and that's the appropriate time for the President or Board of Trustees to make a change or a revision to the agenda. Could be taking something off, could be maybe voting on something separately or changing the wording, asking for clarification. So, and that is number 3. So that's amendments of the agenda. Number 4 is the presentation of the Spirit Awards by the Community Pride Commission. Number 5 is the presentation of the village audit relating to the fiscal year May 1, 2014 through April 30th, 2015. So Brian Lefevre of the village's auditing firm Siklich LLP will present an overview of the village's comprehensive annual financial report. Staff calls this the CAFR. For the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2015. So that's last fiscal year, and we're already in the new fiscal year of 2016. So just a reminder, our fiscal years run from May 1st through April 30th. And we're on May 1st already on the new fiscal year, which will run through April 30th, 2016. So number 6 is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the current no parking zone of the North Avenue frontage road. So I'm going to read the synopsis for you, but then I'm going to add a few things so you kind of understand the whole picture of what we're going to discuss here and have discussed. So to resolve safety concerns, staff is proposing the elimination of all parking on the south side of the frontage road and revising the parking on the north side of the frontage road to permitted parking only. Permits will be issued on a first-come, first-served basis, one space per property address, and users must apply for a permit on a monthly basis through the Village of Villa Park Police Department, and then they'll be charged $25 per permit per month. And folks, what's taking place here is that we've had several incidents at the North Avenue townhomes. In fact, within the last 8 to 10 weeks, there have been 2 shootings. No one's been killed, but there's been 2 shootings and numerous other events, including a recent fire within the last 10 months or so. On the frontage road, which is adjacent to North Avenue, so it goes North Avenue, the frontage road, and then North Avenue townhomes. Well, the frontage road is very narrow, and there's parking on the north side and there's parking on the south side, and what we're intending to do is to eliminate the parking on the south side so our emergency vehicles can enter the frontage road from the west proceeding to the east. The fire hydrants are located on the south side, so it's very difficult for our emergency vehicles to get to the fire hydrants to help suppress a fire, or the ambulance to help get in and out of the complex. We are not able to go around and behind the buildings also because the alley or the parking lot back there is very narrow, and you pull in and you actually have to back out. That's how tight it is, because also at the other end, at the west end, there's a gate, and the gate is padlocked shut by the adjacent property owner. So we're trying to do several things. We're trying to have our emergency personnel have the ability to respond and suppress fires, and also to respond to various incidents at this area. So we're taking a look at removing the automobiles, and we're taking a look at some other infrastructure improvements also that would help the area increase its security. We're looking at installing some light poles, some additional cameras, possibly removing some trees so they do not interfere with the cameras and lights. So folks, right now there is no lighting between the frontage road and the actual buildings. There's a sidewalk and plenty of trees, but actually no lighting at all. So it's pretty dark sometimes. So we're trying to correct some deficiencies in that area. So it's a very interesting, so please tune in Monday night or come in person if you'd like and listen. So again, number 6 is the North Avenue townhomes and restricting parking on the south side. So let's go on to number 7 now. Consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, levying taxes for the fiscal year of the Village of Villa Park commencing on the first day of May 2015 and ending on the 30th day of 2016 for the total levy of $9,362,781. And you notice I said 2015. The property taxes that we pay in Illinois are always in arrears, so it's kind of confusing when you think about property taxes and fiscal years, because we're in a fiscal year now going into 2016, but the taxes we'll be collecting will be for 2015. So you got to kind of bear with me. It's kind of confusing, but the 2015 tax levy process is well underway. The Library Board approved their levy on September 23rd, 2015. The Village Board adopted a resolution estimating the tax levy on November 9th, 2015. A notice was properly published in the Life newspaper on November 27th, 2015. A public hearing was held on December 7th, 2015. This ordinance includes a village levy of $7,268,466, which represents a 2.1% increase. A library levy of $2,094,781. This represents a 4% increase over last year, for a total levy of $9,362,781, which represents a combined 2.5% increase over last year. A majority of the levy is subject to the 0.8% tax cap, plus new growth. Staff recommends a first and final reading of the ordinance on December 14, 2015, because this issue has been discussed at several previous public meetings and the required filing deadline is in December. So a lot happening Monday night with the levy, and that property tax levy will provide monies, or funds if you will, for the fiscal year commencing May 1st, 2017. And what we'll do, folks, is we establish the levy now, and then we'll take that levy amount and give it to DuPage County, and then in January staff will start meeting amongst themselves and crafting the budget, which will be implemented on May 1st, 2017. So all the department heads and myself will get together, look at the projects, look at how much money we have, and we'll go put everything together. Then sometime in February, March, and April, we'll have meetings on Monday nights, and we'll discuss all the budget with you and the President and Board of Trustees, and kind of outline what the strategic and implementation projects will be starting May 1st, 2017. So with that, let's move on to number 8 for the Committee of the Whole for Monday, December 14th. So number 8 is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale by public auction of personal property and seized vehicles owned by the Village of Villa Park. So we have only one item this time, and it's a 1997 JB Enterprise 18-foot trailer with a broken axle. And we use this trailer to haul our lawnmowers for our Parks and Rec department. So it's got a broken axle. And folks, what I did is I authorized Parks and Recreation to purchase a new trailer, because repairing the broken axle was almost as much as buying a new trailer. So we bought a new trailer. We're just going to sell this trailer, and maybe somebody wants it for scrap, or maybe somebody has an axle laying around that they can use to fix the trailer. So that's number 8. So number 9 is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing notice to consider the annexation of certain territory located at South 461 Ardmore. And this is right at High Ridge and South Ardmore. It's a home located on the east side of Ardmore. So it's a home in a vacant lot that happens to be in the county and not in the village. So staff is seeking to annex the annexation of 2 parcels on South Ardmore Avenue. This item is the intent to annex ordinance. The next step is to provide public notice as required and consider annexation of these parcels on January 25th, 2016. Can you believe it, folks? 2015 is almost over. Not quite sure where it went so fast. So number 10 for the Committee of the Whole for Monday night is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing notice to consider the annexation of certain territory located at South 708 Villa Avenue and South 705 Euclid Avenue. And these 2 parcels are in the county but not annexed into Village of Villa Park boundaries. So staff is seeking annexation of 2 parcels between Euclid and Villa Avenues, between Redorian and Roosevelt. This item is the intent to annex ordinance. The next step is to provide public notice as required and consider annexation of these parcels on January 25th, 2016. So folks, 9 and 10 of the Committee of the Whole, these annexations, this is also part of the strategic plan that the board and citizens and staff went through and conducted about 18 months ago. So annexation of properties within the geographic boundaries of the village, which are located in the county but not as part of the village, in the strategic plan, that was one of the priorities, to annex these properties into the village so that we can increase the ambulance and fire response and police response, so we know who's responsible to respond to that particular property. Because if it's not annexed into the village, really it's the county that's supposed to respond, not the village. But obviously we're going to respond. It's here within the borders, etc. So we just want to annex it and now make it a formal part of the village. So number 11 is to consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adding regulations for the towing of vehicles in compliance with Public Act 99-0438. So the village board is requested to review and approve an ordinance that establishes a license and regulations for a police towing list. The Illinois General Assembly in Public Act 099-0438 established regulations and guidelines for municipalities that use a rotation towing system for towing services authorized by the police department. Villa Park has used a rotation system to allocate the opportunity for towing to 3 different local companies. The new changes legislated by the Illinois Vehicle Code will allow the village to license the towing companies, to screen their ownership and employees, and to open the tow rotation list to additional vendors. And folks, this is a very positive step to be taken by the Illinois General Assembly and us. So now we'll do screenings for the company, screenings for the employees, which will be actually picking up and towing the vehicles. And So it's a more of a control feature, and then these towing companies will be licensed by the Village of Villa Park to be able to participate and be located on the towing list. So let's go on to 12. Consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the list of authorized trees and providing for the protection of trees during construction. So the Village of Villa Park has been advised by Irene Hildebrandt of the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to modify the village's municipal code in regard to authorized trees, the protection of trees during construction, and protection of trees from utility trimming to comply with current standards. Staff recommends that Section 21-303, 308, and 313 be modified. And folks, this is a very good step in the right direction. Sometimes you'll happen to notice that there's construction occurring somewhere in the village and the orange fence protecting the trees is not up. So we'll really start protecting the trees if we haven't already. If you notice on the streetscape occurring on Ardmore that a lot of the trees have the orange fence to protect them. We're now going to update the tree list that we use within the village. So when we replant trees, we'll refer to the tree list for the appropriate type of tree before we go out and buy a tree. So let's go on to 14. So number 14 is to consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering agreement between the Village of Villa Park and Christopher Burke Engineering, Ltd. for Phase 1 of the Washington Street area flood study at a cost of $81,000. Subsequent to storms in April 2013 that affected many portions of the village entered into a contract with Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ltd., otherwise known as CBBEL, to develop a new comprehensive flood plan for the entire village outside the Sugar Creek Basin, but including combined sewer areas. One of the identified problem areas was the Washington Street Highland Avenue corridor, which is a combined sewer area. So CBBEL has submitted a proposal to refine a combined sewer separation plan that would include portions of Yale, Ardmore, Grant, Euclid, Madison, as well as Washington and Monterey at a cost of $81,000. The design effort would coordinate with the proposed DuPage County funded green infrastructure project on Washington Street as well. So a lot happening in this particular item. So 15, moving on, is consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering services agreement between the Village of Villa Park and Civil Tech Engineering, Inc. for the 2015 Street Improvement Program at a cost not to exceed $178,481. So the village proposes road improvements to various streets located throughout the village. Public Works staff proposes using Civil Tech Engineering for Phase 2 design engineering services. A proposed engineering services agreement establishes the scope of services for Phase 2 design engineering at a cost not to exceed $178,481 to be paid for using both referendum and non-referendum bond funds. So folks, if you're interested on what streets are going to be completed in 2016, please tune in or come to the meeting or look on our website after we get done with the meeting. It'll all be posted. And you can see if your street's going to be done in 2016. Number 16 is to consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing a contract with Swallow Construction Corporation of Downers Grove, Illinois, for the 2015 South Monterey Culvert Replacement Project in the amount of $105,343.40. The village proposes to improve drainage on the 600 block of South Monterey Avenue as part of the 2015 South Monterey Avenue Culvert Replacement Project. This project is funded using the Street Improvement Fund. Swallow Construction Corporation of Downers Grove, Illinois, submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $105,343.40. The engineer's estimate of the cost of this project was originally $124,750, so it's below the engineer's estimate. So number 17 is to consider a supplemental resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code. And folks, we do this on an annual basis. So village staff is working on officially closing out all remaining past MFT general maintenance and construction section projects. The supplemental resolutions are necessary to reconcile previous MFT estimates and actual amounts expended. So what we do on an annual basis, folks, when we do our roads is we estimate how much MFT funds will be used to complete the project from MFT funds collected by the village. And then on an annual basis, before the fiscal year ends or just after, we reconcile the actual amount expended with the estimates so that we have a good closing audit. So it kind of keeps us up to date on how much MFT money we still have on hand rather than an estimate. So it's a good policy to do, and we do that, and the state of Illinois appreciates that because they audit us. So with that, let's proceed on to the formal agenda. And folks, remember, so Monday night the 14th, we'll have the public meeting at 6, followed by the committee of the whole at 7:30, followed by the formal agenda after that. And so Monday, December 14th, we'll have a lot of the items coming from the committee of the whole straight to the consent agenda for first and final readings, if you will. And then we'll have the rest of the agenda. And we do that, folks, because we like to be very proactive with moving forward with our items. But if we have a particular item that's contentious or there might be a lot of discussion or questions, we take that off the consent and we'll put that as a separate item to be voted on separately. So we take more time to discuss that. So let's proceed though. So on Monday, December 14th, following the committee of the whole, I have the formal board meeting. So number 1 is the president's report. And folks, that's the appropriate time for President Bowinkle to kind of give us an update on what's been happening in the president's role since the last time we met. So number 2 is public comments on agenda items. Folks, that would be the appropriate time for citizens in the audience to ask questions from staff or the board on, could be anything on the agenda though. So it could be about the tax levy, some specific items there. Could be the bill listings. The bill listings are rather large this time, and I'll get into that in a moment. But for the consent agenda, it's A through Q this time, so it's almost the whole alphabet. So let's start. So for the consent agenda, number 4 is a bill listing dated December 7th, 2015 in the amount of $4,068,374.84. And the bill listing B dated December 14th, 2015 in the amount of $1,784,938.94. Now those are large bill listings. And what happens, folks, in December and June of every year, we make payments to the bond holders. So sometimes it's interest and sometimes it's principal. But you can tell from the size of the bill listings, December is principal payments. So this is the payments for referendum bonds for the streets and all the other bonds that we have. So we'll do that in December, then in June we'll have some high bill listings also. And if you're interested, the bill listings are posted on our website and you can kind of thumb through there and see which bonds are being paid in certain amounts and things of that nature. So for C for the consent agenda is minutes from the Village Committee of the Whole meeting for November 16th, 2015. D is minutes from the Village Formal Board meeting for November 16th, 2015. E is minutes from the property tax levy public hearing held on December 7th, 2015. F is the first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the current no parking zone of the North Avenue frontage road. So I'll quickly read you the little synopsis for this. To resolve safety concerns, staff is proposing the elimination of all parking on the south side of the frontage road and revising the parking on the north side of the frontage road to permitted parking only. Permits will be issued on a first-come, first-served basis, one space per property address, and users must apply for a permit on a monthly basis through the Village of Villa Park Police Department. These permits will cost $25 a permit, and they'll have to reapply on a monthly basis. G is the first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, levying taxes for the fiscal year of the Village of Villa Park commencing on the first day of May 2015 and ending on the 30th day of April 2016 for a total levy of $9,362,781. The 2015 tax levy process is well underway. The Library Board approved their tax levy on September 23, 2015. The Village Board adopted a resolution estimating the tax levy on November 9, 2015. A notice was properly published in the Life magazine on November 27, 2015. A public hearing was held on December 7, 2015, and this ordinance includes a village levy of $7,268,466, which represents a 2.1 increase over the last levy that we had for last year. It includes a library levy of $2,094,781, which represents a 4% increase over last year's levy, for a total combined levy of $9,362,781, for a combined increase of 2.5% over last year's levy. A majority of the levy is subject to a 0.8% tax class cap plus new growth. Staff recommends a first and final reading of the ordinance on December 14th, or this evening if you were reading it that evening, because this issue has been discussed at several previous public meetings and the required filing deadline in December. And folks, once we have the levy established per the board and trustees, for the president and board of trustees, then the levy is filed with DuPage County, and then in January we'll start the budget process for the village. So H on the consent agenda for Monday night for the formal board meeting is a first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale by public auction of personal property and seized vehicles owned by the Village of Villa Park. And again, we just have one item. It's a 1997 JB Enterprise 18-foot trailer with a broken axle. So if you're interested, I believe we'll have this item on Obernoff auction, and we'll try to sell the 18-foot trailer, excuse me. So I, on the consent agenda, is first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adding regulations for the towing of vehicles in compliance with Public Act 99-0438. The Village Board is requested to review and approve an ordinance that establishes a license and regulations for a police towing list. The Illinois General Assembly in Public Act 099-0438 established regulations and guidelines for municipalities that use a rotation system for towing services authorized by the police department. Villa Park has used a rotation system to allocate the opportunity for towing to 3 different local companies. The new changes legislated by the Illinois Vehicle Code will allow the village to license the towing companies, to screen their ownership and employees, and to open the tow rotation list to additional vendors. So moving on to J for Monday night on the consent agenda is first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing notice to consider the annexation of certain territory located at 0 South Ardmore And folks, this comes directly from the Committee of the Whole. So that's the annexation, and then K is also an annexation for property at Euclid and Villa, and we'll be talking about those more Monday night. L is the first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the list of authorized trees and providing for the protection of trees during construction. The Village of Villa Park has been advised by Irene Hildebrandt of the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to modify the village's municipal code in regard to authorized trees, protection of trees during construction, and protection of trees from utility trimming to comply with current standards. Staff recommends that Section 21, 303, 308, and 313 be modified. So M on the consent agenda for Monday night is the first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing the Special Events Review Committee. The Village of Villa Park Economic Development Commission is recommending the creation of a committee to review events held within the village, using analysis to provide recommendations to improve visibility, attract additional attendees, and ensure financial stability of the events. And that committee will have members from all the commissions, citizens if you like, Board of Trustees members and staff, and we'll be just going by each event. It could be the Summerfest, Oktoberfest, could be the Criterion, and we'll just be looking at each event to see how much money we spent, thinking about the attendance, how can we improve it, and moving forward that way. So N is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering services agreement between the Village of Villa Park and Civil Tech Engineering, Inc. for the 2016 Street Improvement Program at a cost not to exceed $178,481. So the village proposes some road improvements to various streets located throughout the village. Public Works staff proposes using Civil Tech Engineering for Phase 2 design engineering services. A proposed engineering services agreement establishes the scope of services for Phase 2 design engineering at a cost not to exceed $178,481 to be paid for using bond referendum and non-bond funds. So folks, again, if you're interested in what streets are going to be done in 2016, so please tune in or look at the website after we're done, and the list will be right on there. O for the consent agenda is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering agreement between the Village of Villa Park and Christopher Burke Engineering Limited for Phase 1 of the Washington Street area flood study at a cost of $81,000. Subsequent to storms in April 2013 that affected many portions of the village entered into a contract with Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ltd., also known as CBBEL, to develop a new comprehensive flood plain plan for the entire village outside the Sugar Creek Basin, including combined sewer areas. One of the identified problem areas was the Washington Street Highland Avenue corridor. It's a combined sewer area. CBBEL has submitted a proposal to refine a combined sewer separation plan that would include portions of Yale, Ardmore, Grant, Euclid, and Madison, as well as Washington and Monterey at a cost of $81,000. The design effort would coordinate with the proposed DuPage County funded green infrastructure project on Washington Street as well. P on the consent agenda is resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing a contract with Swallow Construction Company of Downers Grove, Illinois, for the 2015 South Monterey Culvert Replacement Project in the amount of $105,343.40. The village proposes to improve drainage on the 600 block of South Monterey Avenue as part of the 2015 South Monterey Avenue Culvert Replacement Project. This project is funded using the Street Improvement Fund. Swallow Construction Corporation of Downers Grove, Illinois submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $105,343.40. The engineer's estimate of this cost of the project was $124,750. So it was a great bid opening process. As you can see, we saved some money compared to the engineer's estimate. So Q for the consent agenda for Monday night, December 14th, is a supplemental resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code. Village staff is working on officially closing out all remaining MFT general maintenance and construction section projects. These supplemental resolutions are necessary to reconcile previous MFT estimates with actual amounts expended. So that is the consent agenda, A through Q. Let's move on now to the regular agenda, which is 5, public comments on non-agenda items. And folks, that's the appropriate time for residents in the audience to ask questions of staff or the president or board of trustees about items which are not on the agenda. It could be snowfall, it could be plowing, it could be fuel usage, it could be almost be anything. And we would respond at that time. And of course, if we didn't have an answer, we would get back to that individual after the meeting with the correct information. Number 6 is the village clerk's report, and that's the appropriate time for Clerk Kornecki to kind of give us a brief summary of what's transpired since the last time we held a meeting. It could be legislation, could be many different things. Number 7 is the village trustees report, and that's the appropriate time for our board of trustees to kind of give us an update on activities that they've been involved with since the last time we had a board meeting. It could be maybe an activity associated with joyful traditions. It could be questions for staff. And so that's the appropriate time on the agenda, number 7. So number 8 is the village manager's report, and that's the appropriate time for myself to update you and the board and any residents in the audience on things that I've been involved with this last time we met. And it could be a budget item, it could be legislation that's been passed, like SB 2039 has been signed by Governor Rauner, and we certainly appreciate that. So I'll probably talk a little bit about that on Monday night. Going on to number 9 is the village attorney's report, and that's the appropriate time for village attorney Orr or Binninger to kind of give us an update on what's transpiring in their area of expertise since the last time we met. And quite frankly, that could be legislation, could even be legislation for code enforcement, which has been some tweaking of statutes in the code enforcement addendum for crime-free in the last several months. So moving on the agenda for number 10 is the adjournment. And that's the appropriate time for a member of the board to make a motion and a second to adjourn. So it's quite an agenda for Monday night. Consent, like I mentioned, is A through Q. It's about 17 different items or so. So very meaty. Just think about the 2016 road improvements and a new flood study. We've got the FEMA meeting at 6 o'clock for Monday the 14th, so that's going to be very interesting. We also just recently had Joyful Traditions. I hope you enjoyed it. You talk about beautiful weather. Wow. Last year and the year before it was a little chilly. I can remember my toes freezing a couple years ago, but this year is just beautiful. And just keep in mind that we changed the lighting and the light poles on the Prairie Path to LED as we did throughout the whole village, and I really like that because they were brighter, kind of a little softer white but brighter, and made the arrival for Santa more unique because we could actually see when he came off the fire engine and came to the gazebo. So I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. The Prairie Path is one of our biggest assets here in Villa Park. So I hope you use it. I hope you walk, run, and enjoy it. So we do have some other things happening. So we have some drop-offs for toys for the Toys Express. So we have a drop-off bin here at Village Hall and Fire Station 81. Fire Station 81 is located down by the new post office in Willowbrook. So please, the bins are for new unwrapped toys, and they can be dropped off at Village Hall. The address here is 20 South Ardmore, or Villa Park Fire Station 81, located at 1440 South Ardmore Avenue. And the Toy Express will collect the toys and let parents pick up a few gifts to wrap for their children. So Toys Express will do that. So we also have happening in the Honor a Veteran at Villa Park's Cortese Veterans Memorial Park. So the commemorative Memorial Brick Program provides individuals, families, and businesses and organizations the opportunity to honor men and women who have served their country with a memorial brick paver. A paver engraved with a veteran's name will be installed as a tribute to your loved one's service in the U.S. military. So the brick specifications, each brick is 8 by 8 and it costs $50. Bricks allow for veterans' name, rank, branch, and theater, up to 3 lines of text with a maximum of 18 characters per line. And you can submit your checks and order form to the Villa Park VFW Post 2801, located at 39 East St. Charles Road. And folks, I'm sure by now you're kind of familiar with what's happening at the Villa Park's Cortese Veterans Memorial Park. We're still doing the transformation, even though we're in December. So please take a moment and drive by. The area is still fenced off, but some of the pavers have gone, and a lot of them have, and you can tell it's built up, and it's adjacent to Kenilworth. And if you remember, it used to be back north at Cortese, more towards the depot building. Now we've moved it forward to Kenilworth. So in the spring, we'll have all the flag poles up, and each flagpole will have its own flag for that particular service branch. And then we'll have the bronze medals, if you will, or plaques for each branch service. And it's going to be a very neat and unique park. And don't forget, we'll have a grand opening, and if I'm not mistaken, some members of the Cortese family are going to fly in for the ribbon cutting, and we'll have a large event for the entire village when we do that. And we'll do that in the spring on a nice day, hopefully no rain, just be beautiful. So again, my name is Rich Keener. I'm the village manager of Villa Park. It's my honor. If you have any questions, please give me a call, shoot me an email, and hopefully we'll see you Monday night, December 14th, here at Village Hall, or you'll be watching at home. So take care, and we'll see you soon.